Yeah, all right, fair. You caught me enjoying my Magnum. It is what it is. And if you're wondering what are those two pieces of fabric or string hanging off the side of the vest that he's wearing, they are my arms. Would you believe they're out? Slightly embarrassing, but it's. Do you know what? It's too hot. I'm just saying that right now. Welcome to the live stream. It's a 5K special. That's what we're going to talk about. I need to eat this while I'm talking to you. It's a 5K special this week. So we're going to talk about all the things I think about when I train for a 5K, when I run a 5K, when I warm up for a 5K, everything. And then we're just going to talk, just chat. It's just nice to see people. Hi, Sean. How you doing? This is good. I urge you, if you haven't had an ice cream today, go eat one. Don't worry about it. You'll burn it off in next to no time. So let's talk about 5K. Sorry, I realised I've got to chew at the same time. Hi, Kieran, Winona, Richard. I mean, I timed this really wrong. Ask some questions as well if you need to. Oh, really? Is the stream cutting in and out? Hopefully it's not, but maybe it might be because Mary's upstairs on the internet as well in a meeting. Alex, good to see you, buddy. How you doing? Hi, Richard. Just going to let some people drop in and then I'll get on with it. You can just watch me eat. Well, say hello. Make sure you drop in and say hello. Hi, Alex. I just look like the Matrix. Clifford, how's it going? Does anyone find that the best bit is actually licking this chocolate bit off there? No ice cream, just watermelon. Stephen, that's too healthy, man. Way too healthy. I'm all about the ice cream on a day like this. Watermelon. Oh. Okay, let's talk about 5Ks. So nice. Salted caramel Magnum, in case you're wondering. I don't tend to run very many 5Ks anymore for a lot of reasons, but mainly because I train for long distance and they're not really compatible for me with long distance training. It tends to be that I can do one or the other. I can't do both. I've found that out the hard way, obviously, that especially over Christmas, I don't know if you saw the videos, but we went to Australia, went to visit my sister, and I did a few park runs over there. And we did 3 in the 3 weeks we were in Australia, and I gunned every park run, sometimes without a warm up, if I'm honest, because we got there a bit late. And what happened is it just aggravated my body too much whilst I was still trying to run kind of 24, 26 kilometers as well, because I was training for the Seville Marathon. So I found out the hard way that my body is not compatible for it. But Ben, hello, by the way. And apple. Why are people eating fruit? You're mad. I know I should be espousing the benefits of healthy eating, shouldn't I? But come on. That's how ice cream is healthy for up there. So 5K, when I used to do 5Ks, I had a certain routine, a certain training pattern, a few training sessions that I would used to do week on week. I'm all about consistency. That is me in a nutshell. No flair, I don't change up my sessions every week all of the time, try and keep it interesting that way, because I really genuinely believe on, gradual consistency trumps all. So when I used to train for 5Ks, I still did base running. I still did my aerobic base. I probably did kind of up to 10K would probably be my top distance at that stage. I'd run a lot of 8, 9, 10 kilometer runs at a very easy pace for my base training. And then for my 5K training, what I would tend to do is I had a few go-to sessions. A little bit like last week when we were talking about my 10K sessions, I'd have a few go-to sessions that I would go to regularly to almost kind of gauge where I'm at, feel what it feels like to be at your limit, but also, you know, push yourself on bit by bit every week. Let's have a look who's stopping in. Kerry, you should never do cardio and strength training in the same workout. Big risk of injury. Oh, could you elaborate on that? Because surely it depends on the cardio workout, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, as far as I was aware, if you have a nice base run, then, or a base cycle, for example, I don't see there being any problem with then doing strength training, especially again if it's endurance strength rather than high intensity or high weights. But yeah, if you elaborate by all means, that would be great. Hello to Morganator. What is the average 5K time for an 11? Oh, is that Bill again? Have you changed your name, Bill? Average 5K time for an 11-year-old. 20, between 20 and 30, Bill. Anna, how's it going? Okara, for some reason you can't break through the past 5K. I can do you can't break past 5K. I can do a 5K with no problems, but when you try and add on kilometers and you need a break and feel so tired, any tips? Stick around at 5K for a while, like get used to it, go under it for a bit, maybe 3-4Ks, you know, just hang around there, let your body catch up. It's probably that your body needs a little bit of time to get where you want to get. Oh, max weights. Kerry, you're talking about max weights. Yeah, no, I never do anywhere near max weights. If I tend to do a base workout, I'll then do endurance type weights, muscular endurance. So low weights, high reps. So where was I? 5K. So the training sessions that I would tend to do a lot of base. And then when I did do the high intensity stuff, it would be super high intensity. So we're talking, 400-meter repeats on the track, sometimes 800, but it would tend to be a session I really loved was you do a really good warm-up, then you do 1 times 800 meters at hard pace, and then you do a 200-meter walk, and then you do 2 times 600 meters with a 200-meter walk in between each. Then you do 3 times 400, same thing, and 4 times 200, still with a 200-meter walk, I think. And then when you get to the 100s, or no, maybe the 200s have a 100-meter walk, but you're training yourself to recover quickly and go hard again and again and again. And it's just I would say it's a deliciously brutal session. It is on the channel. I have made a video about it. There is a workout on there. I think it's a picture of me collapsed on the track if you were looking for a hard workout. So go check that out. Hi, Danny. How's it going? What do you do to warm up? I've heard online you don't need to warm up. For what? Weights or running? Could you just elaborate a bit more on that, Kieran? Because I would say I don't, if I'm honest, I don't tend to warm up when I go for my base runs. I certainly do for anything high intensity, and I do warm up for weights as well, because I just found going into it cold, my body cannot take weights. Oh, running. Okay, so I don't think you need to do a warm up when you're doing an aerobic base run, like a level, zone 2 run. You don't need to do a warm up, because essentially that is the warm up. You're trying to keep your pace at a conversational level. You're not pushing yourself too much, so it would only be the kind of pace you would do in a warm up anyway. But you definitely need to warm up when you're doing interval sessions, because you cannot just go from 0 to 100 without a good warm up. And we're going to get onto that about how I prepare for a 5K actually as well. So that's my training approach. Is I like to do lots of hard interval sets, training, get a bit of speed in the legs, and kind of make that 5K feel a little bit more manageable. Because when you do interval sessions, you run harder than you would in a 5K anyway. So actually, in theory, a 5K, the pace you're running feels slower. It's just obviously a lot longer. So you need that base behind you. So 5K on the day, how do you approach it? That's what I think you're asking there, Kieran. I'll get to all these questions. These people that are asking questions, I will get to you, but just let me answer this one first. We're going to talk about how to approach a 5K on the day. So something like a park run. In an ideal world, you would do probably 10 to 15, maybe even 20 minutes of warm up. And it doesn't have to be an intense warm up, but you need to gradually get your body into a place where when the whistle or the gun or the go starts on a park run, you're not playing catch up from the get go. You don't feel like you're sucking in oxygen and thinking my muscles can't take this. You got to be at that point. So a good warm up would tend to be maybe 5, maybe even 10 minutes of very slow jogging, bit of dynamic stretching, and then on the end, what I'd add is a few kind of strides or sprints, something to really bring your body up to speed, to make you aware and make your body know what it's going to feel like over the next however long it takes you to do the 5K, running at a harder pace. So I certainly wouldn't just go into it with a slow gradual warm up. If you're going to run a 5K hard, I would get a bit of speed work in there as well, a few strides, a few sprints. I like to do that just to wake all of the systems up, because you have your aerobic system, but you also have your anaerobic system and you have your lactate system. So there's kind of 3 energy systems within your body that work at different intensities and over different periods of time. So if you can wake all 3 of those up, because every run that you do uses all 3 just to different extents depending on the distance and intensity. So if you can wake all 3 systems up, then you stand a much better chance of having your best day when it comes to running your 5K. Hopefully that answers your question, Kieran. Best running shoes of Nike to start with. Ashish, I've got no idea, I'm afraid. I'm an Asics boy. I don't wear Nike. I never have. When you find a brand you like for you, and that keeps you injury free, then you tend to stick with it. And I have done that with Asics. I use the Gel Nimbus. I love them, and I just go through the iterations each year of them. Keep buying them, and I love them. So sorry, I can't answer that question. Did I ever smite a child with a mortal wound with my spikes? I can't say that I have ever done that. No, I've only ever run with my spikes in cross country. So no, I haven't smited any child, thankfully. Mohammed, so the 5 and 10K plan of mine, what's the intensity you think it would be optimal for each running session? If you go back on the channel, if you watch some of these, Mohammed, you'll probably see that I really, really espouse the benefit. I keep using that word today, don't I? Espouse. I bang on about the benefit of low base, easy training, easy miles. 80% of your training should be easy. So that's where you should be. You should be able to hold a conversation whilst running. So, Kerry, you did it before in cross country as well. Yeah, absolutely. So 5K, like I say, there's your warm up. That's what I would give you for a warm up. I would say, you get a bit of strides in there, you get a bit of dynamic stretching, you get a bit of aerobic warm up as well. Make sure you hit all the different energy systems ready to go at the start, and give yourself 5 minutes then to kind of bring yourself back down the other side and recover a little bit before you go. So don't do that warm up and finish with strides and then the race is 30 seconds later. I would say bring it back down the other side. Give yourself 5 minutes. Give yourself like that time to cool down, calm down, maybe grab a drink of water, settle yourself, center yourself, be ready for the get-go. Because 5Ks, let's be honest, if you want to do well, personally, as in for your best time, not against other people, then it's going to feel pretty brutal. It's hard. 5K, you can go at a higher intensity than a 10K or a half marathon, and they hurt. So how I approach a 5K race is very similar to a 10K race, I guess, in that the first kilometer, what I tend to do is I make sure that I run what I call smooth. That I feel like I'm in cruise control, that I know that I'm running hard, but I'm not trying to compete with anybody else. I'm not trying to think about, oh, that person's in front of me, I'll try and hang with them. I do my own thing. I think it sets a really good precedent for the rest of the race, because if you try and hang with someone that is maybe faster than you, you can probably get away with that for like a kilometer. but then it all falls apart, and it all falls apart quick. So your best bet really is to have an idea of where your heart rate needs to be if you're pushing yourself. Because remember, it creeps up probably after the first kilometer. It starts to really get up to your true max heart rate levels, and have an idea of that pace that equates to. So a lot of work needs to be done in training at kind of syncing up your heart rate and pace so that you know where you should be at any time. And that comes with experience. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, and you're going to get stuff wrong a lot, and that's okay. But the best thing to do is get it wrong in training more than get it wrong in races. So the more you experiment in training, the better. Winona, Nike Epic Reacts would be your advice to start with. Very light and good cushioning. Yeah, and that's you're right, Winona. Everyone is different, and I've always thought about Nike, especially the the Vaporfly and stuff like that, but I just haven't taken that leap yet because of the, like I say, being an Asics boy. I'm just not sure yet. So Kieran, you're doing 5 every day for 50 days for a consistency challenge on day 7 so far. Oh, interesting. You'll have to let me know how that goes, because, obviously as a coach, I always talk about the benefits of having a recovery day and a recovery week. And I appreciate that 5K is not huge distances. And I know lots of people that have done similar. So I'm certainly not saying don't do it, but it would be really interesting to let me know how that goes. Back to the 5K racing. Now, after the first kilometer, it feels like story time, doesn't it? Oh, shall I read you a story? After the first kilometer, what tends to happen is my heart rate catches up to the effort that I'm putting in, and then I start to see where I'm truly at. So my heart rate tends to be quite high. I have quite a high working heart rate in comparison to some friends of the similar age to me, and it doesn't mean anything, by the way. Your heart rate is very personalized. So if you think, oh, my heart rate's high and that guy's is lower, they must be fitter, it does not work that way. There are so many things you have to take into account with heart rate that you can't compare your heart rate to anyone else. I've heard of professional athletes whose working heart rate when they're racing is over 200, and some is like 150, and they're both professional athletes, so they're at the top of the game. So just focus on your own heart rate, and I know where mine is when I'm working really hard. And so for the next 3 kilometers, I try to hover around the pace I need to be in, the heart rate I need to be. It's almost like a pace. I would call my 5K approach a pace sandwich when I think about it, because that first kilometer is to make sure I'm at smooth cruise pace, that I'm working hard but not over hard, and I'm just doing my own thing. The next 3K, I stick around what I think is probably the maximum pace I can hold for a 5K. I watch my heart rate creep up, and for the last kilometer, I just go, right, I'll just see you in 3.5 minutes, to myself, to my little brain, and I just shut it. I try and shut out all the negative noise. I try and shut out all the pain, and I just think I'm just going to go for it. And I do up the pace. It is unbelievable what your body is capable of if you allow it to be. And I'm certain I haven't scratched the surface of mine, and I'm certain most of us haven't. But I do think, you can convince it to do things in over short periods of time. If anyone's ever heard of Jens Voigt, who's a very famous Tour de France cyclist, he has a fantastic method or ethos or whatever you want to call it, that when he's cycling up a hill, and he's this German dude, and he's really funny, and he's like, so when I am cycling up the hill and my legs are screaming at me and they are saying that I must stop, I say, shut up, legs, and do what I tell you to do. And his take on it is that he tells his legs to shut up, and he tricks them. And he says, well, I'll stop when I get to the top of that hill. And then they get to the top of the hill. He's like, right, we go again. And so his phrase is shut up, legs. And I do believe in that process or thought process, that you can override your body trying to protect you, because that's all it is. All it is in a 5K is your body is trying to protect you and keep you comfortable and keep you away from the pain. And to a certain extent, that's a good thing, because you certainly don't want to push too hard too early. But in another way, actually, let's be honest, you're probably more capable of pushing harder than you have done. It's just people don't like the thought of being uncomfortable. They're not comfortable with being uncomfortable yet. And that's a weird place to be. And when you get there, I see it in kids that I teach all the time. You have these PE lessons, and you can see which ones already know how to push themselves into discomfort, and you can see which ones have no desire to be in any way uncomfortable, and you try and educate them that struggle and challenge is where growth happens. You must be uncomfortable to grow, and that's a long process. That's what we try and do as PE teachers. It's not just all kind of lunges anymore. It's proper. We're trying to educate in the background, and hopefully that's I'm trying to pass this on to this channel as well. So let's come back to some of the questions. Kerry, what do I think about unruly bowels and stomach pains? I don't think much. I've been very lucky, if I'm honest, Kerry. I mean, you're only ever one bad race away from stuff like that, but I try and ignore. I've had some stomach cramps when I've been racing before, but when I've drunk too much Lucozade, but no, nothing else. Luckily, sorry. Yeah. Jake, 5K is after the one. My 5K is after the first 1 kilometer. You're knackered, especially when your first kilometer. Yeah. That's it, especially when your first kilometer is a 3:36, and then you're like, oh my god, I've got to try and keep this up. So it is a lot of bit about pacing there. Derek, Kerry, what if I run 5K daily and try to make ease a day and push a day? Oh, okay. So in you're trying to rotate the intensity that you're running. Could work, absolutely. You want an answer. Whenever you run, you get a nose infection. Is it normal? No, it's not. I don't know what I can say to that. All I can do that is similar, all I know of that is similar is Mary. She's like this pace tap. So when she's running at a certain paces, she's absolutely fine. If you get her to almost every time, like clockwork, to an exact pace, her nose just goes and starts streaming, and suddenly she becomes the snottiest runner you've ever seen. Sorry, she won't like me saying that, but she will. And that usually is at about 4:15 per kilometer. Suddenly her nose goes haywire. But I don't know, I'm afraid, Derek, about your nose infection issue, but it could be something similar to Mary's. It's like this physiological reaction that happens once she hits a certain pace. I find my nose running on certain bike rides when I'm out, and I don't know why that happens. Who knows? I mean, my nose as well. Let's be honest. Look at the size of that bad boy. If I'm going to get infected here, then I'm in trouble. Like, I've had a nose operation before because I used to get all sorts of nose infections when I was a kid. So I dread the thought of it. Kerry gets nosebleeds, if that's consoling. I guess in a small way it is consoling. Right, let's get back to 5Ks. Let's get back to, we've talked about the race, and we've talked about how you prepare on the day for the race. Why don't we talk about some of the things you can do nutritionally, hydration as well, before, during, and after the race? My advice would be, for a 5K, you absolutely don't need any gels, nothing like that during race. You could potentially take a gel with a caffeine just before the race, but it's a fine line if you already have drunk, say, loads of caffeine that morning. You have to kind of manage your caffeine intake, because it can, like I say, it can make you run too fast, too early, and then you're playing catch up for the other 4 kilometers. So but I have done that before. I've taken a gel just before I've run, and that can work. I always make sure I'm super hydrated, like that I need a wee just before the 5K. I don't want to be sloshing around, but that only comes when you drink lots in one go. So if you manage your intake by small sips all the way through the morning, you'll tend to be really well hydrated by the time it comes to the race, and that's always a good thing. And you're not going to dehydrate over 5K, but your performance could be affected if you start dehydrated. That you need water in your body to maintain quite a lot of the functions that the body goes through while you're running, and if you don't have that, minimally so, but it could affect your performance. After the race, just make sure you have a good stretch, because what you've done is you really put your body under the cosh, like super hard running, and you know, I learned the hard way, and I did stretch after the 5Ks in Australia after the park runs, and I still ended up getting Achilles tendonitis, and it possibly is because I had tight calves in the first place. But you cannot put a price on foam rolling, stretching, just keeping those muscles supple, especially when you put them under such intense situations as a 5K. It's very different training for a marathon, because yes, I still stretch and I still foam roll, but I never feel that kind of ache in the muscles that you get from the buildup of lactic acid, from the pain in the calves and in the quads and in the hamstrings. So kind of driving home, you're like, bloody hell, I feel like I might cramp up here. And if you watch some of the other streams, you'll know that I have never had cramp. I'm very lucky. I'm a bit of a weirdo that I have never experienced cramp. You could say maybe I've never pushed myself hard enough. I don't know, but I've never cramped and I've never vomited in a training session. And I've always wanted to vomit, if that makes sense, because it justifies all that hard work. But as hard as I've ever pushed, I've never vomited. Bit of a shame. But so Kerry once collapsed after your 19:59-minute 5K and doubled over the woman at the stanchions of the finish line. Was not amicable. I look very tired. Take care, and thank you for the lovely videos. Thank you. I am. Yeah. Fair enough. That's a fair call. I am very tired. It's been an interesting week. It's been a long week, and it's been hot, and we've been trying to keep children active and interested during these ridiculously hot days. We've been playing a lot of foot golf and stuff, but I find myself on my feet a lot and keeping children entertained, I guess. So I'm struggling a bit, but I only, we have very few days left of the term, so I'm not complaining. What's my mile PB? I don't know. I do kilometers, Jake, so I don't know what my mile PB is. Kilometer PB, I think it was something like 3:15 or something. I don't know because I've never run just a kilometer. That would have been within a 2 or 3 kilometer run. I'm not sure, but I've run a couple of decent ones, I guess. So Sean took Gatorade while you ran in Canada, and you got partway through the run, coughed and puked. Yeah, sometimes that just happens, doesn't it? Like, I've had a friend that took a dodgy gel when we were doing a triathlon, Sam, and he came in off the bike leg before the run leg and just vommed. Because maybe the gel was just too much at the time. Mike, after running a half marathon or more, you foam roll for 20 minutes. Is it excessive? I mean, no, it probably takes a good 20 minutes to get around all the muscles, doesn't it? I always find that grid foam rolling is like another workout. It's hardcore. And if you want to hit all those muscles, calf, everything, then yeah, I think 20 minutes is not excessive. I tend to do it watching the TV, so it's not like I've got other things to do and it's taking up my time. I do it while I'm doing other things, so I don't see any problem with it. Certainly not excessive. Who is Kerry Murphy? All you're talking about, Kerry, all you were talking about is diarrhea, vomiting, nosebleeds, and farting. So I can't help but think maybe you're actually a pupil that I taught. Seems to be at that level. Uma, following the half marathon and strength and conditioning vids helps a lot. Well, a pleasure. I'm glad it can help. I need to redo the half marathon, all of the training plans actually, and add in some strength and conditioning videos embedded in that plan. Just update it a little bit, refresh it a little bit, because the plans that I have done, don't get me wrong, I'm really happy that that tends to drive most of you guys have come here possibly because you found one of the plans and then you found the channel. So I'm not knocking that at all, but I think possibly that they need a little bit of a freshen up in the future. And yeah, I'm on that. Right. Oh, you are being completely genuine. Okay. You've just had an interesting running career, Kerry. That is interesting. I've never had anything like that happen to me, and it seems like you've had it all. So fair play. Okay, I'm going to go now because I've talked you through 5K prep, I think, training, prep on the day, race and recovery. There's lots of videos on the channel that, are short interval sessions that will get you in good shape for 5K. have a watch of one of my videos, which is my favorite runner's favorite sessions, where I talk to Dan Mapp, because he's a 14-minute ish, a sub 15, just sub 15-minute 5K runner, which is, I mean, think about the pace you'd need to run to do that. It is incredible. It's sub 3 minutes. Isn't it 3, 6, 9, 12, 15? Yeah, that is sub 3 minutes per kilometer, which is, it just blows my mind. So check Dan Mapp out. He's on Instagram as well. He's an ASICS front runner, but his video where he talked about his favorite sessions was brilliant. And have a lovely week. This weekend, this Sunday, I'm doing the 260 kilometer Zwift challenge on Sunday morning, and I will send out details if anyone wants to drop in on Discord. I'll be putting it on Facebook and Instagram live. Like we'll be doing updates throughout the whole day so that everyone can check in, see how I'm doing. So there'll be plenty of ways to interact throughout that day. I think I'm starting 8:30 GMT, so it'll be about a 7.5 hour ride. And so keep your fingers crossed for me. And the video coming this week is how you prep for a big race, any big race, all of the thought process that I go through. And then next week's will be the actual day. So hopefully that'll bring some value to some people out there. And hopefully this has helped if you're watching it and you wanted to know a little bit more about 5K and how to approach it. And I hope everyone's well and enjoying this incredible heat if you're in the UK. I mean, I don't often wear a vest because, like I say, these arms are not really made for vests. But if you're not subscribed and you're watching this, then just consider it at least. You don't have to. This is no hard sell. But if you want more content that will help you find the best in yourself in terms of running or triathlon, then that's what I'm always aiming for. Okay, it is dinner time. I usually tell you what I'm having for dinner, so I will do that as a finish. Well, I'm having beef kofta curry with rice and green beans, and it is delicious. And I had it 2 nights ago, so we always cook for, I don't know why I'm going into this, but that's my dinner, and I like to always finish on what I'm having for dinner. Right, peace out, everyone. See you Sunday. If you want to stop by Facebook, Instagram, there might be a Discord chat as well. In any way, I'll interact with you, and I'll see you all very, very soon.